It's Big Herc in for another edition of Prison Talk. And I just want to talk about a case that's in the media right now in regards to mandatory life sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. And the case in question deals with this guy, Mr. Brooker. This gentleman right here was recently sentenced to life in prison for marijuana out of Alabama. Brooker was convicted of drug trafficking in 2014 after police in Dothan, Alabama raided his son's home in 2011. His son, Darren Lee Brooker, was also charged. The police described what they found as a growing operation in a wooded area behind the house, saying that they seized 42 plants with a street value of $92,000. Darren was eventually sentenced to 5 years probation with a suspended 5-year prison sentence that will be dismissed if he doesn't violate any terms of his probation. But his father had 4 previous felony convictions from decades ago, including armed robbery, for which he served time. And Alabama law mandates that anyone with prior felonies get an automatic life sentence for possessing more than 2 pounds of weed. 2 pounds of weed, and this gentleman's got life in prison. Didn't hurt nobody, didn't go out and rape anybody, didn't molest any kids, did get caught with kiddie porn. I mean, those guys all get off. I've never heard of any of those type of crimes getting life in prison. Why did they get to go home and hang out and repeatedly do the same thing, and a person growing marijuana gets life in prison? Even Alabama Chief Justice Roy Moore recognized that there's a problem here. Moore, best known for being rabidly anti-gay, is a lot more reasonable on drug law. In a possible related detail, Moore's son was arrested in 2015 for possession of marijuana and Xanax. Brooker's sentence, Moore wrote in a special 2015 memo, is excessive and unjustified, and showed a need for a change in the state's drug laws. A trial court should have the discretion to impose a less severe sentence than life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Brooker is appealing his sentence on the grounds that it violates his Eighth Amendment rights to be free of cruel and unusual punishment. On Friday, the Supreme Court is expected to decide whether to hear Brooker's case. The Times weighed in ambiguously, calling on the court to overturn the sentence, adding that mandatory life sentence, especially for nonviolent crimes, don't seem like the best idea. You know, we live in a society where, you know, things go on, things happen. We're an industrial nation, but our prison system thrives off of housing people rather than creating programs to help people. And the people who run these prisons have a quota that they need to keep filled in order to return profits to the shareholders. CCA, Wackenhut, and some of the other privately funded prisons that are building warehouses to basically store human beings. Now, is this something that you want to support, or are you going to actually stand up and say, hey, you know, this is something that needs to be changed? Because most of you guys sit at home and you think, oh, it doesn't affect me. I'm not the one out there growing marijuana. I didn't commit the crime. You know, I didn't do this. Yeah, but it could be your son. It could be a relative of yours. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. You know, this country has more people locked up per capita than any other nation. So, you know, it's a wake-up call. And I'm not saying anything is more justified than the next, but does a life sentence for this man really fit the crime? Come on, non-violent marijuana plants? I mean, this gentleman, he deserves justice, and he deserved to have his case heard. And I hope it does get overturned, and he gets an opportunity to live out his life as a free man eventually. You know, not having to serve all this time. I mean, some of our laws are so draconian, it's a shame, and they're biased, and you know, the people sitting up there enforcing these laws and keeping people locked up. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous, you know. I'm a convicted felon, but I'm not out here And I'm not, propagating crime. I'm not endorsing crime. I'm not saying, hey, if you should go out there and see what you can get away with. All I'm saying is that give everybody their fair share. Make sure that the scales of justice are equally balanced for everybody, and that everybody has the opportunity to have a fair and just trial. Big Herc signing off.